It's Friday, December 6th, 2013. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. Mark's left me all on my own, and this is episode number 11 of T.E.N. Transport Evolved News for the week beginning December 2nd, 2013. Meet Mr. Kaveh Kamoun. He's a middle-aged Nissan Leaf driver who hit the headlines this week for all the wrong reasons, in a tale of misdirection and villainy so bizarre that, well, we couldn't even make it up. A couple of weeks ago, Mr. Kamoun from Atlanta, Georgia was arrested and spent 15 hours in the county jail for stealing 5 cents of electricity from his local middle school, after he plugged in his all-electric Leaf into an outside wall outlet for 20 minutes to charge. Harsh punishment? The local news stations who initially picked up the story certainly thought so, as did many of the EV drivers we spoke to, especially as Mr. Kamoun claimed he was parked up at the school waiting for his son to finish playing tennis. But like an ancient game of Chinese whispers gone wrong, it seems Mr. Kamoun's version of events seems to have got a little twisted over time. According to the arresting officer from the Chambly Police Department, and after his story had been picked up by every news outlet this side of the Crab Nebula, Mr. Kamoun wasn't there watching his son play tennis. He was the one playing tennis on the middle school's tennis courts, which he apparently had no right to use. And worse still, he'd had a previous run-in with the middle school's administrative staff, which is why they'd called the police just for freeloading juice on his car. To make matters worse, he then tried to blame the attending officer for damaging his car, something the cameras on board the patrol car disproved, and was generally a bit of a jerk. To the man with the big gun and the handcuffs, who then arrived at Mr. Kamoun's home 11 days later and arrested him. As well as giving all us media sorts a good lesson in triple-checking our sources, it's given a polite reminder or two to the plug-in world. 1. EV drivers can be jerks too, and 2. You really shouldn't plug into someone else's power outlet without checking first. The Tesla Model S is safe, and its design isn't to blame for 3 recent fires. That's the opinion of the Kraftfahrtbundesamt, the German Federal Motor Authority, which conducted its full safety analysis of the Tesla Model S's design and operation following 3 incidents in which the Model S cars caught fire after being involved in an accident. In an official statement made on Monday, the German safety organisation, which has similar powers to the US National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, cleared the Model S of any design flaws or fault. It reads as follows. According to the documents provided, no manufacturer-related defects could be found. Therefore, no further measures under the German Product Safety Act are deemed necessary. Given how tough German safety standards are, we think this bodes well for both Tesla's reputation and its chances with the US NHTSA too. Forget Nissan's single, self-driving, highway-going Leaf EV, because by 2017 the city of Gothenburg in Sweden will have 100 self-driving cars tackling everyday duties, says Swedish automaker Volvo. The Gothenburg-based company announced this week that it will launch its own autonomous car project in 2014, which will accumulate in a 100-car-strong test fleet of self-driving Volvo cars on the roads in and around Gothenburg by 2017. At the moment, Volvo says many of its self-driving prototypes will be based on its range of Drive-E internal combustion engine cars, but since Volvo's new engine platform is designed to work alongside plug-in hybrid drivetrains, not to mention Volvo's goal of being 100% zero emissions by 2020, we think electric cars have a part to play in this important study. The BMW i3 is one of the hottest plug-in cars to go on sale this year and promises to combine BMW's legendary performance-oriented driving experience with great energy efficiency, contemporary design and an extensive list of options, which includes both a range-extending engine and DC quick charge capabilities. But as long-time BMW i3 fan and BMW Active ELECTRO Tom Malogny confirmed this week, BMW won't be including a state of charge gauge on its i3 as standard. That's something most, if not all, owners ask for when speccing their EV. A state of charge gauge, often called an SOC meter, represents the remaining charge left in a car's battery pack as a percentage and offers a far more accurate representation of how far you can travel before running flat than the miles till empty or gasometer display that many automakers include on their cars. That's because the SOC gauge only does one thing. It counts down the remaining power in the car's battery pack until it's empty. It doesn't try and figure out how far you can drive based on recent and current energy consumption, which can cause lots of confusion. But all hope is not lost. While only the European version of the BMW i3 Rex will have an SOC gauge hidden away somewhere on the main display, BMW has said it's willing to revisit the lack of SOC on the i3 in light of how strongly its current drivers feel about its absence. SOC gauge or miles till empty? Which do you prefer and why? Why not comment to this video and let us know? You may not know this, but a massive number of EV drivers are actually closet petrol heads who like nothing more than to watch a spot of motor racing at the weekend. But if you're like me, a conflicted, guilty liberal who can't bring herself to enjoy the wanton gas guzzling that is Formula One, you'll be pleased to know that the race calendar has finally been set for the inaugural series of the Formula E Championship. Putting the motor back into motor racing, Formula E's first season, due to be held over 2014-15, will visit 10 different cities around the world for all-electric, zero-emissions fun. And unlike Formula One or NASCAR, which have to be held miles away from civilization due to the sheer noise of all those roaring engines, Formula E will be held in the very centre of each city, racing around the streets normally travelled by stressed businessmen, eager tourists and taxicabs. The first Formula E race of the season will be held in Beijing, China on September 13th next year, before travelling east around the globe, visiting Malaysia, Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina, the US twice, Monaco and Germany, before finishing in London, UK on June 27th, 2015. Moreover, each event will take just one day, starting with an open practice before the qualifying session, a 1-hour race, and then finishing with a massive live music concert to finish the day off. Tickets go on sale early next year, so be sure to nab yourself some tickets. The Mitsubishi i-Miev hasn't exactly sold well in the US since its introduction there in late 2011. In fact, it's sold under 2,000 cars since its launch. That's less than the average number of Nissan Leafs sold in the US in just 1 month. So, in order to help sales, and we presume its balance sheet, Mitsubishi announced a massive price cut of more than $6,000 for the price of the 2014 Mitsubishi i-Miev. Starting at just $22,995 before federal and state tax incentives, the 2014 Mitsubishi i-Miev is now the cheapest 4-seater electric car on sale in the US by a very long way. Mitsubishi has even increased the base model spec, including things like rapid DC charging, heated front seats and battery heater, all things you used to have to pay for as extra as standard fit items. Sadly, range will remain the same, a measly 62 miles according to the EPA, but if you're looking for a quirky, affordable electric car that costs less than many base model compact gasoline cars, after incentives, the Mitsubishi i could be for you. As anyone who's watched Season 14, Episode 14 of The Simpsons will tell you, one way of getting an unpopular piece of legislation passed into law is to attach it to the bottom of another, more popular bill. And while The Simpsons is of course a work of fiction, that very act is surprisingly popular in both the federal and state levels, with a trick being pulled time and time again to pass everything from anti-abortion legislation to new tax codes. And this week, that same dirty tactic was used by Ohio politicians keen to pass legislation backed by powerful auto dealer associations intent on stopping Tesla Motors from selling its electric cars direct to customers. By amending the text of the Senate Bill 137, a really benign, well-supported bill intended to pass laws to ensure highway maintenance workers were better protected while working on the road, Tesla's opponents hoped that they could sneak the pro-dealer legislation in via the back door. But thanks to some eagle-eyed policy wonks, the amended text was spotted and, after some quick campaigning from Tesla and its fans, rejected unanimously by the Senate before the original bill, without the modified text, passed 12-0. Well done, Tesla, and well done to the Ohioans who spotted their senators playing dirty, dirty tricks. Electric car sales for the US during the month of November show that EV and plug-in car sales are still at record highs, with both the Nissan Leaf and Chevy Volt selling more than 2,000 cars during the month of November. That brings collaborative sales totals for the year for the two most popular plug-in cars on the market to more than 40,000 cars. Plug-in hybrids like the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid, Ford C-Max Energy and Honda plug-in Accord also had a decent month, adding several thousand cars to the total sales figures for November. But that's nothing compared to EV sales in Norway, where a massive 12% of all new car sales during November were electric. Granted, Norway does have a smaller population than the US by quite a way, and only 1,434 EVs were sold to give it that larger market share. But it's moving in the right way, and it's the biggest market share we've seen given to EVs ever. Kind of feels good to see more people dumping the pump, doesn't it? That's it for the week. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode of T.E.N. And in the meantime, visit www.transportevolved.com for all the EV news that's fit to print, subscribe to our channel and other shows on YouTube, and join us live on Sunday when we'll be discussing these and other stories on Transport Evolved. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield, and until next time, stay juiced up! provide, you stupid woman? Can you not read? Do you not have a brain? Oh, I don't. I really miss Mark. Come back, Mark. I don't know what to do without Mark there. It's just too sad.